Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The meaning of Tafsir as opposed to Ta'wil and Tadabur is that we explain something and understand what it means in itself. So for example, if we were to look at an object like a car and we explain to somebody what a tire is, that would be giving explanation to the tire, to the wheel, to the suspension, to the steering, to the gearbox, to the gear stick, to the clutch, so on and so forth. To explain what a tire means, what brakes mean, what windscreen means, what the wipers mean. That would be giving tafsir. Also, how they are interrelated with each other, how they function, what is the purpose for which they are there, what purpose do they fulfill, would also be a part of explaining what the mechanism is all about. In terms of the Qur'an, therefore, to explain the meanings of the words of the Qur'an would be a form of tafsir. To explain the whole of the verse and verses that come together as to what do they mean in themselves and in accordance with the things that they are pointing at. That would be known as tafsir. As far as Tadabbur is concerned, it represents more the appreciation of the verses together with each other and the words and their sounds, how they're intertwined, how they beautifully, meticulously fitting together, and how so precisely they are indicative and they give a full meaning. So Tadabbur would be more a philosopher standing away from an atomistic understanding of words and verses and looking at the whole thing as a whole. More like looking at a painting in its entirety and looking how beautifully the strokes of the paintbrush have gone in to make the whole painting, the array of colors, how they converge and they enhance the beauty of the whole piece as it is. Tadabbur would mean acquiring a deep-seated appreciation of the Qur'an in its entirety. And therefore, when we say that when we do Tadabbur of the Qur'an, we will find that, my goodness, it does not have any discrepancy therein. But that would not require only an understanding of the singular verses or the words that make it up or chapters, but an overall understanding, more of a philosopher's understanding. As for Ta'wil, according to the utility of the word Ta'wil within the Qur'an, it is more asking a question as to what does it mean in its essence. So for example, we can say that this car has wheels that are round, wipers that clean the windscreen, a windscreen that is made out of glass, a steering, a clutch, a brake. But why is it designed in this way? What is the wisdom therein? What drove the inventor to invent it in this way? What was the actual reason? Why could it not have been slightly different? So Ta'wil means the exact, precise intent of God from that particular verse. Now, as we go along in this series of talks, we will be pointing at many of the things that constitute an overall or an overview into tafsir and into understanding of the Quran. We will not be talking about our approaches to the Quran or our method in one particular place. So for example, we might talk about an existential approach, but we will talk about it as and when we use it. Similarly, we will be challenging many assumptions, but we will talk about them as and when we come across them. The Prophet of Allah has said the Quran offers its own exegy. What he said was that some parts of the Quran offer the explanation of other parts of the Quran. Therefore, seek to explain the Quran through its own self. This is something that we will be using in the course of this small podcast that we will be offering.